Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Ngayon po kami naman po ng aking grupo ang magdi-discuss about sa aming topic, sa special topic 2. So ang aming topic po ay ang teaching indigenous people. So actually yung aking piniling may bibigay na explanation sa inyo is general na po. So as a whole na po is teaching indigenous people in the Philippines. So ito po yung aking napiling presentasyon sa inyo, which is we all know that na yung mga indigenous people po ay ito yung mga tao na makikita natin like in mga remote area, like sa mga baryo, but definitely hindi naman po lahat ng mga taga-baryo is wala silang mga formal education. But yung sinasabi natin is yung mga some places po in the provinces na patago siya, patago siya na hindi talaga siya kumbaga hindi siya exposed, kasi kahit naman po nasa province, meron pa rin po mga school dyan na formal pa rin yung mga pag-aaral, See, indigenous people population, okay, indigenous peoples or IP known is represent about 10% of the Philippines population and are found throughout the archipelago. So, the largest groups, the Igorots and Aitas, are concentrated in the mountain ranges of Luzon Island. So, ito po yung aking napili is somewhere in the Philippines, places in Luzon Island, which is ito yung mga Igorots and Aitas, which is we all know na sila yung pinaka-common na alam natin ng mga IP, So, ngayon po is yung mga IP na ito, is mga tao na ito is hindi po sila yung like sa mga commonly na nakikita natin like us na nagagawa or ginagawa yung mga nakikipagkasikisan or nakikipagsabayan in modernization. So ito yung mga tao na ito is kumbaga pa kontento or satisfied na sila kung saan sila naka-stay, So, how did the indigenous education start? So, paano ba nagsimula yung indigenous education? So, from one of the Aita leader in Zambales, said Carling Dumulot, we cannot benefit from frontline services, and difficult communication prevent us from telling the government what we need. So, another that extreme poverty and marginalization among indigenous people led the Catholic Church to set up in 1995 the Episcopal Commission on Indigenous People or ECIP to defend minority rights and help indigenous groups find ways to bridge the gap between their cultures and the rest of the world. So, in this paragraph is mapapansin natin is hindi lang po yung pinag-uusapan dito yung learning. It also for me in my own opinion is it's all about how to preserve pa rin po yung culture, ng like for example yung mga Aita na hindi nila pwede sila makapag-aral but at the same time is mapangalagaan pa rin nila yung kultura nila and hindi kumbaga walang mababago, So, dito na pumapasok ngayon si non-formal education or NFE is one such way. So, ito yung sagot naman ng government for their of what they need. Kasi hindi mo naman sila mapipilit na okay, dito kayo, bumaba kayo from your places para meron kayong para kayo ay guminhawa or some na may what you mean this what I mean this guminhawa yung buhay na hindi habang buhay dyan kayo, kumbaga uh, mag-set free kayo sa kung saan kayo, 'di ba? So si non-formal education, yung isang sagot na hindi nila kailangan umalis to where there are places or kung saan sila kasi meron si education yung lalapit sa kanila, no? Okay, non-formal education or NFE for indigenous people, it involves teaching reading and arithmetic by using non-traditional methods that rely on elements of indigenous culture. So, though na non-formal education siya, kasi when we said non-formal education is parang opposite din ng formal education. Kasi dito sa city or in the like Manila or some in basta in city talaga is alam natin yung formal na education is pupunta ka ng school at 7:30, then you're wearing school ID, you're wearing school uniform, complete set uniform, and where you have a bag, then etc. na kumpleto lahat. But in non-formal education is of course meron pong consideration dito, no? So dito po malalaman natin. So though kahit na hindi sila makakapagsuot ng uniform, walang ID or something na nakikita na nakakasanayan natin na estudyante, meron yung education pa rin nila is like what we had, no? Kung ano yung education na nagagawa or ginagawa rin natin sa school. So meron pa rin, tinuturo pa rin yung pagbabasa, yung arithmetic, yung pagbibilang, mga ganyan. So like that. Then, offered for free. So, free siya. Ino-offer siya ng free. Classes have no age limit. So, wala pong age limit. Walang bata, matanda. Kung sino yung gusto matuto, is okay, open po. Can be held in the open and are flexible schedule-wise with up to 3 sessions per week, which enables people who have work commitments to attend. So, parang kumbaga walang pwersahan ito no? Kung gusto mo matuto, then you go and wala naman nasa open area siya. So actually, you already know it naman kahit na mag-research kayo na merong mga meron tayo nakikita nag-volunteer na teacher na yun, minsan sila pa yung nagbibigyan ng mga notebook, pencil, sila yung nagpo-provide ng blackboard. So merong mga good Samaritan na ganyan, no, kahit hindi lang sa mga IT, kung somewhere in the mga kahit sa mga kalsada, no, ganun. So kumbaga kahit saan po lupalop or sulok ng Pilipinas is nandiyan pa rin po sa education as long as there's involved sa teacher and the students, the learners and the educator. So yan. And in place in Zambales, okay, this is one of the this is an example, no. In place in Zambales province since 1983, the program has been used by Franciscan missionary nuns, so isa siyang madre, to educate ATAS, deemed the oldest indigenous community in the country, with its own language and tradition found nowhere else, and traditionally isolated from the wider society. So in this pag-aaral po is they can also use their own language kasi yun yung hindi po pwedeng sila estudyante yung mag-a-adjust. Dapat po is yung magtuturo. Of course naman kasi mas marami yung tuturuan mo, 'di ba? So kaya nga not only dapat si teacher dito is flexible and the same time yung mga patient mo kasi nga maninibago ka, no? Kung matigas ang taga city, I don't know sa mga IPs but iba po sila, 'di ba? Okay, this is also one of an example to yung pamulaan. Yung pamulaan po is a Center for Indigenous Peoples Education. So, Center for People's Education. For Indigenous Peoples nga. Is an educational institution dedicated to the indigenous peoples in the Philippines. So, dedicated siya sa mga IPs in the Philippines po. No? The first of its kind in the country, its main thrust is to create a culturally appropriated and relevant pathways of training and formation for the indigenous children, youth, community leaders, and development workers. Then added that the center hopes to produce graduates equipped with knowledge and abilities to initiate collaborative actions towards sustainable development of IP communities. Of course po, meron naman pong goal kung bakit tayo kung bakit yung ating government is nagsiset up ng ganitong idea or paraan para sa ating mga kapatid na IPs. Of course naman, hindi naman po pwedeng forever silang um, walang alam, no? Kailangan din natin silang tulungan, no, para ma-sustain nila yung kanilang cultures, at the same time po is ma-develop nila yung kanilang area, no? Kasi yun nga sinasabi natin, without education siguro lilinlangin tayo ng kapwa natin, even though yung kapwa natin is uh, kumbaga dadayain niya tayo kasi nga wala tayong alam, pagbabasa hindi natin alam. So kumbaga ngayon kasi papel to papel na, so kailangan talaga nating magbasa, makabasa, makaintindi kung ano yung nasa laman ng papel. Kaya nga yung IPs natin, ayaw natin sila mapag-iwanan. So yun yung one of the scared of our government nga is kumbaga mapag-iwanan yung ating mga kapatid na IP. Okay, next. So ito po yung framework ng pamulaan center is, as you can see po, is from self to family, tribe or community, no? Or nation. Then nation yung lastly. So kumbaga ito po yung buhay or umiikot no yung kumbaga yung buhay ng isang IPs, no? So, but then, ito yung tulong natin or tulong nila sa sarili nila at the same time dun sa tribo nila. Na, though hindi sila umaalis dun sa places nila, but still, is kumbaga hindi sila napapag-iwanan. It because meron silang alam at kaya nila makipagsabayan kahit man lang dun sa mga transaction sa mga papers, kasi nakakatakot nowadays though na forever kang nandyan na sa places na yan, pero pwede pang kukunin yun sa'yo, no? Pwede pang agawin yun sa'yo dahil lang sa like for example wala kang titulo, so ganun, di ba, sasabihin ka sa gobyerno yan. So, yan po yung iniiwasan natin. Kaya gusto natin matulungan yung ating mga kapatid na IP. Okay. Sa pamulaan programs, tertiary education, okay, sa tertiary education, they offer this all courses. A ladderized approach to educational study, it offers full-time degree courses as well as short-term training courses on Bachelor of Science in Education, Bachelor of Science in Agricultural Technology, Bachelor of Arts in Anthropology, Bachelor of Arts in Peace Education. And in elementary and high school program naman po, formal elementary and secondary education programs using an enriched indigenous Department of Education curriculum and management. It operates on the principle of respect for and recognition of the indigenous peoples, life and culture. Okay? Pamulaan programs, Early Childhood Development Program, a 2-year program for preschool, indigenous children, centers of interest based on the point of view of the child and his cultural background have been organized into program components po. Okay, that's all my report and I am Maripa K. Balogan. I hope na nabigyan ko kayo ng malinaw na explanation. Though tipid lang po siya but I hope na you can also find or research some in mga web links about the IPs kasi I think dalawa lang yung naibigay ko na example but meron even in here in Mindanao po meron din po tayong mga IP. So yung one of my reporter one of my co-reporter, of course they will give you some example, no? Sige, thank you, wassalam.